So we're doing a little something different today. Our dear friends, recently acquired an Ocean Alexander 70E. And to be clear, they were dear friends before that acquisition.
I don't know about that.
But we've spent a lot of time on the boat since they've gotten it. We've just not been out underway on it. And so we're going to take you along for just a little ride so we can all experience it together. Welcome aboard the 3Bs, a 2017 Ocean Alexander 70E. We're just going to go out, take a little cruise, maybe drop the hook, have a little lunch. But right now it's time to get underway. The 3Bs has 3 stations from which to get off the dock. Whenever it's possible, our friend Captain John always prefers to run from the upper helm. It's got great visibility. And this is where he runs through his setup and systems checks as well, including the all-important joystick check while the boat is still tied up. As for me, I so rarely have the chance to act as crew, so I love these opportunities to help out and leave the driving to someone else. Now, let's get out of here. With a nudge of the joystick to port, this 80,000-pound yacht eases off the dock with amazing finesse thanks to the Volvo IPS pod drives and the captain's skill, of course. The joystick is a huge help around the docks, but make no mistake, you really need to learn and understand the nuances of the system. I do love, and I'm a little bit jealous, of the massive 24-inch Garmin displays, and John really makes full use of the customizable presets to give him exactly the info he needs in different situations. Meanwhile, back on deck, I couldn't be happier to be the guy stowing the lines for a change, and among the excellent features of the 70E, there's a massive amount of storage for lines, fenders, and a whole bunch more under this 4-deck sun pad. All right, lines and fenders are stowed.
Nice.
Now we're gonna make our way through an uncharted cut to get out of here, but we've gone out on the tender. We did some, what would you say, recon on it and sounded the depths. And it should be excellent for this, about a 5-foot draft or so, a little better than 5 feet.
5'3".
We certainly took our time going through the unmarked cut, and even though the depth gauge reads as 6.3 feet, like us, John prefers not to have an offset figured in, so the true depth is actually a few feet better than that, and it certainly was no problem for the 3B's 5-foot 3-inch draft. Unlike straight shaft boats like Olo, where we primarily use gears to steer at idle speed, boats with pod drives actually tend to be much more responsive to helm input at slow speed, since you're actually directing the thrust when you turn the wheel. Once we were out in open water, a few tweaks to the chart plotter now that we were going to be cruising, and time to throttle up. Everything's running smoothly. We're banging along at around 18 knots, 1900 RPMs, about 80% load. This thing runs very nicely, if I do say so myself. We were making our way to Sombrero Light, which is just off of Marathon in the Florida Keys, and our plan was to spend a little time there on the hook. Well, the swells made us think better of that idea, and even though the 3Bs has excellent zero-speed stabilizers, we weren't going to be getting in the water, so we figured there were certainly nicer places to be at that moment. While we're making way to our anchorage, I want to give you a sense of what it's like down on the main deck. The first thing you notice is how relatively quiet it is for a 70-footer that's cranking along at 18 knots. Isn't that nice? And what a beautiful main living space, just flooded with natural light from these massive windows. So up one step and just forward of the galley is the lower helm station. I always thought this was a really efficient design, and yeah, it also has those massive displays. Really, do I sound jealous? The Stid helm seats on the 3Bs have the Volvo IPS joystick and control for the displays built in, which is always a nice touch. Stairs to the bridge are just abaft the helm, and the galley is really nicely equipped. But probably our favorite piece of boat bling aboard is this sculptural stainless steel hardware for the pantograph door. That's awesome. In the time I've been busy yammering, we've arrived at our anchorage, and now it's time to drop the hook. And with the anchor set, Captain John shuts down the mains, and it was time to relax. There's so many cool places to hang out on this boat. This is actually one of our favorite areas on the OA. It's the foredeck seating area that's convertible with the sun pad or seating. And what's really nice is being out here at anchor, engines off, side power stabilizers are keeping everything very stable at anchor and doing a really nice job.
We also have this fantastic sun pad, which flips back to be the other side of this bench, and you cannot get over the size of these bulwarks. Look at this. Safety all the way around the boat on both sides.
Of course, one of the best parts of going out cruising is stopping and dropping the hook and having some food off the grill on a beautiful, hot winter day.
Boom, boom, boom.
Cheese nips.
Cheese nips.
All right, we've got plenty of other videos on our YouTube channel showing us hanging out, so let's get that anchor home and do some more cruising. Where's that? Oh yeah, I love the built-in chain washdown. So as much as I was happy to sit back as a passenger, I certainly wasn't going to pass up an opportunity to take the helm. Oh, so that's a degree, or... Whoa. That's 10 degrees if you hold it.
Just tilt it off.
Yeah. So this boat has joystick steering, so I can tilt the joystick a little bit to port, and we're turning to port as long as I hold it. I can twist the joystick and it'll turn a degree. We can go a little more hard over. It's also amazing how stable this boat is when you go into a turn, both because of the nature of the pod drives and how they're dialed in, but really the stabilizers are just keeping everything level. And we're doing 19 knots here as I'm making these turns. The captain's gonna have to back down the fairway, and I bet he's pretty happy he's got the joystick control for easy maneuverability. Would that be right, Captain?
Oh, it would be right. I don't know about easy maneuverability. Sometimes it's
easier.
And I make it look a lot easier than it is.
I'm trained professional. Like us, John and Carolyn use EarTech headsets to communicate when they're departing and arriving. It is so nice to be able to speak to your mate easily when you're nowhere near each other. Earlier, I mentioned that there are 3 control stations on the 3Bs, and number 3 is this docking station on the starboard side of the aft deck. It's got a joystick as well as bow thruster and engine controls, and John uses it a lot, just not this time. We used to have a pod boat, but it was only 47 feet. Seeing a 70-footer slide sideways like this is always pretty impressive. Well, that's it. We hope you enjoyed our lovely little ride on this Ocean Alexander 70E. Did you have fun?
I had a great time.
It's always fun being out on the water. And if you had fun, we thank you in advance for hitting the like button and subscribing. And yeah, whack that notification bell so you don't miss a moment of the continuing adventures of Olo and occasionally the 3Bs.